I'm feeling grateful to be here to share the story, to share a successful practice example. And I'm actually curious, how many of you have a mindfulness practice? If you could raise your arm. Oh, it's a lot. And let's be a little more precise. To whom of you it's rather new? You're rather new to the topic. And whom of you have a few years experience? And whom of you would consider yourself long-term meditators? Okay, so somehow I missed a little bit in the in the population. Yeah, but I wanna share an example that, I mean, Richard Davidson, a very famous professor in this field, is saying mindfulness is becoming an explosive trend. It's very strong in the US. It's picking up now in Germany, and we see the same within SAP. And I want to share, how we started this initiative within our company. And I want to share step by step what we did, measured benefits, and lessons learned. And first of all, I think SAP in Germany is quite known, but still some people are surprised how big the company has grown. So we have by now about 70,000 employees all around the world. It has become a global company. And about 3/4 of the world's GDP, the global domestic product, Bruttosozialprodukt, is somewhere produced on an SAP system. So SAP is by far the world leading producer of business software. And we're quite influential with about 290,000 customers. And I'm long-term with SAP. I'm more than 17 years with them, half of my time in the US, half of my time in Germany, the other half of my time in the US. And I was there in the consulting field most of my time. And I was a program manager delivering big software implementation projects at the end. And I found about 10 years mindfulness, or mindfulness found me. And I noticed that this had a profound impact on me. It helped me, something shifted. And in the beginning it was something very private. I wouldn't share with my colleagues. It was not an environment where you spoke about this much. But I noticed that I could handle stress better, that I could hold myself better, that my connection with myself, my self-awareness was increasing, that I could deal better with overwhelm. And little by little, the idea started, it would be great if we could bring such thing to SAP, to our company. So I'm working now since about 9 years in the Silicon Valley, and a few other companies started programs like the Google program and others. And the idea started, and in 2012, me here in Palo Alto, will start dreaming this would be cool to do something like this, to bring some mindfulness to our company, at least a little bit. And I knew 2 more people in our headquarters here in Germany, in Walldorf, and we started dreaming about it. And now, 3 years later, we have delivered, we do a specific 2-day training, we have delivered it in more than 22 locations in 14 countries all around the world, with more than 1,700 attendees. And I want to say this is all driven from employees. So it's coming from employees. And the employees are convincing the management, or have convinced the management at the point, this is something we want to bring to the company. So the blue dots you can see, these are places where we do classes. The green dots, these are local communities where we start practice groups, where we have meditation sessions on the ground, where we do mindful lunch, where we do other follow-ups, where people meet. So it's part of what we want to bring to our culture. And we have a wait list for this class now of almost 5,000 people. So there's really a strong demand. We're all quite amazed. And I want to share, how did this happen? What was the journey to get there? So how to bring mindfulness to a company? I know I get this question quite often now. How did you do this? How can I replicate this model? And I want to share a few lessons learned. The first one, you need to find someone who wants to drive this, who can lead this, a leader, someone who has business background, who speaks business language or speaks the language of your organization, and also has mindfulness background, so that you feel, I believe this, I come from a place of deep conviction. And this person needs to be able to sell it to the employees, to win followers, but also to executives in a way that they feel it's compelling. And I can tell it takes a lot of drive and persistence and courage. In the beginning, it's not that they're all around red carpets. You have to want to make this happen. But then big things can happen. It's very helpful to think big from the beginning. So when we started this, in the beginning, we already thought about, okay, how can we scale this? And I come to this. So one way how we scale is creating already from the very beginning a community. So attracting like-minded people who also have a business background, can talk about it, and have meditation background, and come from a place that they really want to help shifting. So and we started then very early also in educating teachers, so that we not only bring external people that come and then go, but that we bring the knowledge into our company, that we educate people at SAP who have a main job, who are in their career, they like it, and they are meditators, and they teach. And this gives a different impact. If someone who is a VP of sales or a chief development architect or someone in a successful role is saying, you know, guys, I do this since many years, and it helps me to do my job. So people look in a different way. That's what we did, and also we created a community of ambassadors and volunteers, so that people who want to help, that they can get a formal role. By this we can govern it, since it's a global company. And this African proverb: if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together. So we created this mindfulness community. And then it's important to create a specific pitch for your organization, a specific way of talking about it. So it's not helpful if you have like just a one-size-fits-all approach, a cookie-cutter approach. Find a way. If you want to bring it to your organization, what is the way? What are things that matter in your organization? What are problem points? And then see how you can address it. And the very first important step to this is listen. Listen really. Be curious. And how can I convince them? Link it ideally to the objectives of your organization. So, of course, organizations, corporations have goals. Look, there's so much science now. How can mindfulness, how can these practices help your organization thrive? So for SAP, for instance, it was when we started in 2013, 2013, employee engagement was one clear goal in our objectives. Another was employee well-being. It was creativity. We believe what's very important is also to speak more from a potential enhanced perspective than to cure deficiencies. So very often mindfulness is only addressed in the well-being sector. It's a health it's a technique which helps the people to be more healthy, I think, and then they address it in the well-being or the health department. I think this is one important pillar, but it's more, because if you want to attract the alpha male and female, this is the people who define themselves over their capacity that they can perform. They're not attracted by health programs. They're rather not in our experience. But if you say this is a potential enhancement program, it helps you. It increases your cognitive capacities, which science is proving. It increases your social skills, your leadership skills. Then people get interested. So really think about it. And then the next, business language. Talk about it in a way that people feel it's compelling. Short little story here. I'm also a coach, and before I started this movement, I worked with people in my coaching capacity, and I recommended to one of my clients. She seemed a little unsettled. Hey, how about we do a meditation exercise? And she was completely offended. She said, "I don't do this hippie stuff. Sorry." And she felt this is. It was insulting that I would suggest something like this. It was 2013 or 2012. And then 3 weeks later, I had another session with her, and I said, "Well, how about we do an attention training exercise today? Just you learn to focus a little better, and you're a little more grounded." And she said, "Yeah, that sounds great." So she was all in. And big learning, language is very important. How you sell it. And then I told her afterwards, this was a meditation, and then she was open. So find a way that people are willing to get into the experience, that they feel, and that they overcome their bias. And here's one other example, and it's too bad the slides are not animated. So when I started building my pitch, my deck, I had this picture here without the red cross on the front of my PowerPoint presentation, my deck. And then I spoke with one of our executives, and she said, "Peter, just seeing," and I liked it because this was my idea. Wow, now we bring meditation to the company, being a very passionate meditator myself. And my senior executive, she said, "Seeing this picture, I don't even want to continue this conversation." and I was quite offended. But then a little later, self-regulation, thanks to meditation. And a little later, I realized, thank you, this was a great gift for me. Understanding language, again, is very important. So we learned that all we're doing within the business context is clearly secular. It's in a business language. So it's not religious, it's not spiritual, it's not esoteric. So this keeps it safe for people to try it out, because we want to attract the skeptical people who are a little curious. It could be something. So we frame it as a mental training, a mental strengths training, which is scientifically proven, and there is where people come. Then, in our journey, we selected a strong corporate mindfulness program. So there are more and more programs coming up. Our needs is a strong brand is helpful. Depth in teaching, so that they have teachers who have long experience in teaching mindfulness, and in ethics, so that there's parts of, and we heard earlier about wrong mindfulness, so that there's part of compassion and kindness. It's not just the efficiency increasing only mindfulness. That there's neuroscience involved. It helps with engineers and very cognitive-based people, or cognitively driven people. We wanted to have a partner who helps us to support a global rollout, where we can do a teacher training, and a partner who is close to SAP's high-performance cultures. So we choose Search Inside Yourself, which is a program, I think it was mentioned from Günther and from others earlier. It's a program which got developed at Google. They released it to the public. It became a non-profit organization which delivers this to the world, and SAP become one of their first customer, and now I'm happy to say that we are their biggest customer. So we're growing together. And it's a story, born at Google and now proven that it's also working at other companies quite successful. That's our partner in San Francisco. The structure, it's a 16-hour program which we deliver either in 2 days or in 4 weeks or in 8 weeks, depending on where we have teachers or if people have to travel. And then we have a lot of integration activities. So we invite people to have a personal practice. They get a bunch of email reminders. We invite them to learning partnerships. We have virtual practice groups, whole social media tool with webinars, audio, self-study offers, and more. We built this local practice groups. So remember the green dots on the screen. So where people do mindful meditation, mindful lunch, mindful walking, and so that people can practice in a group. And we have also mindful coaching. We have a big coaching practice, and coaches can help, the coaches which have a mindfulness background. So then the next step in the journey, and now I'm going back to 2013, was so how to start this. Since we had selected the program, and if you want to do a cultural change, ideally you have top-level sponsorship, and you have also bottom-up grassroots initiative. And it started with an SAP in Palo Alto, which is in the Silicon Valley, our place where we do innovations. It started with the grassroots. So we started having a public event. We didn't know, or I didn't know at this point, will this work with an SAP? Are there people interested? Or is this just me and a few other friends who are passionate about meditation, but the vast majority of the company not? And so we invited a guest speaker with his team. This is Jade Meng Tan, the founder of the Search Inside Yourself program, who is becoming quite famous in the US. And hundreds of people showed up. The room was full, so we could see there's evidence. It's not just a few, there is interest in the company. Then we started pilots, demonstrate evidence with small pilots, show how it works in your organization. This is a picture where we taught. We started in the US. We did pilots there. Again, the question, is this Google program working with an SAP? Are they interested in it? And yes, we had a rating of 6.34 out of 7 in the US. And then our German executive said, well, yeah, Peter, that you meditate over there in Silicon Valley and in San Francisco. That we believe this is working, but maybe not in Germany. And so we did another pilot in Germany, and to our big delight, the results were even better with 6.65 out of 7, which is quite a high result for a course in Germany. So we did it with almost 200 people, and we also got very strong testimonials, feedbacks. So when a German vice president of sales is saying this is a course which can literally change your life, this also helped to sell this program, to get some curiosity. So after this successful sets of pilots, I became then in beginning of 2014, I became SAP's Director of Mindfulness. I'm still amazed that this happened, and this is still happening. So I have a full-time role to do this. I have now even a team. And we gathered data with the pilots. I come to this in a second. Then with the successful pilots, the next step is gain momentum. So collect testimonials, collect data. One thing which really helped us a lot is keep it special, so make good marketing. And we worked a lot with wait lists, so with registration lists. Means we told people before, we will come to your place. If you're interested, if you want to make sure that you'll be in the pilots, enlist yourself. And so we could see what's the demand. And these wait lists have grown in a way that we are, I told you earlier, that we have now 5,000 people on the wait list. It's showing that it's coming from the employees. We do almost no marketing. It's word of mouth. People come out of the class, they feel this is cool. You should do this too, to their colleagues. The formal role, so people see it's something the company takes serious. We have a director, we have a team for mindfulness. It's a formal part of the organization. And of course, gaining internal attention with this and external attention. Speaking here, so my sponsors, they like that we're becoming visible, that we can show SAP is a very innovative company, that this is possible within this company, and that the external public also perceives the innovation potential. And then one thing we're working strongly on is sustainability and integration. So it's good to have that we have many classes, but we want to integrate it. We want to keep it. We want to really make it a part of our organization. So we invite people to self-practice, to self-study, to have group practices. And I mentioned it earlier that we have virtual and on-site practice offers, so that people. And this is one of the things to be also transparent here, where we are growing and developing further. So people come out of the class, and many are activated, and they feel like this is cool. I want to do this, and now I'm becoming, in my role, a little bit like the walking bad memory of SAP in terms of meditation. So when I walk in Palo Alto over the campus or in Waldorf, I often hear, Peter, as I'm seeing you, I should meditate more. So we learn by this. We need to do more to help people they know practice helps, but how to help them to get it. And formal practices they do by themselves, but also integrated practices. And this is where we're working on, one of the things we're working on now. So this is just a lot of media attention, which again helps to sell. That when we have press coverage, we are on many big conferences. And there, often the profit has to leave the own organization to be seen. So this is a way to do this, that you get on big conferences, and then your sponsors see, oh, this is a topic which gains attention. And this is just a picture, and it's too bad that this is not animated, because then you could see how this a little bit how this works. This is our GEM group. It's a piece of SAP software. It's a social media platform where people sign up, and so where we orchestrate the waitlist, where we orchestrate and offer the virtual offers, learning. So where all the information is gathered, and this is miraculously growing. So by every day, 10, 20 new people are on this group. It's quite fascinating to see this. Here a few pictures of our community to get a sense. So this was a year ago, our mindfulness, our core group, which is growing now at the teacher training in the Silicon Valley. And you see this other picture that people really they didn't even hesitate to face the demanding October weather conditions in Silicon Valley to become teachers. So it was really hard for them to come over. So these are two Germans. It's like, oh, this October weather here, and this is just. To get a sense, so this is how one of our local groups is looking like. So we have bolsters, we meditate. This is in Palo Alto. We do this 4 times a week. At certain times people gather together and we sit. And this is one of our teachers in the middle. He's a chief development architect, so very successful as a software developer. And he leads classes and groups, and people relate and feel, wow, one of us is doing this, and it helps him. And so we measured after we measured data before the classes, directly before, 4 weeks later, and 6 months later. And we measured 10 different questions. So how people, on a scale from 1 to 10, so it's all self-report, how people feel their well-being is, their engagement, how stressed they feel at the moment, how able they're feeling to be focused on others. And what we could see is after, and it's poorly visible. So we see here it's like a blue bar, and then it's a little green one. We could see that after 4 weeks, all measures were increasing in this blue sections, and then 6 months later they were even increasing higher. The only one which declined was stress, perceived stress. And I just got a few hours ago, I'm quite excited from our data team, an email which is not in here, but we will publish this soon. So we have now also a business impact study where our data scientists and external institute is saying that we have measurable financial impact. So we have impact on what was it? So we have a business health culture index. So this means where we measure how healthy is the organization, and this is related to dollar values. We have we see that leadership trust is increasing. So leaders who went to the program, there are people trusting them more. We see that employee engagement is increasing, and we have an ROI which is between 200% and 300%, and I have to validate some of this, so we will publish this. We can see that the money we're investing in this program is paying out for the company in many ways. We have less absenteeism, we have higher well-being, this where others. One more interesting finding, we asked people before again, then 4 weeks later and 6 months later, do you practice? Do you have any type of mindfulness practice? And we gave them 4 choices. No practice. I practice a little bit, 1 to 5 minutes occasionally. I practice frequently, 5 to 20 minutes, or I practice 20 minutes or more daily. And then we could see that for those 10 measures I just pictured here, so the baseline is people who have no practice. And we could see the more the practice, the higher they're in all the measures, the higher they're in their self-report. So there's a strong correlation that shows that if you practice a lot, you feel better in these things. So this helped, of course, to sell the program and to get more sponsorship. Here's some feedback highlights, and I think the slides will be distributed, right? So I will not go too deep here. Also in respect of the time. And then the next step was that from this grassroots, at the point it became SAP's global mindfulness practice to give credit to the fact that this is not just a training, but we want to bring this as a practice to the whole company, that this becomes part of our culture. And it's great that our senior management is behind this, so that we have a global mindfulness practice, which we do all around the world. And it's an overarching initiative. So it's not just health, it's learning, it's marketing, it's our development organization and many others, so that we don't have silos. We make this one integrated organization. And it's a very strong part for the success of this, I believe, is our community, so that we have internal teachers who are driving this. A few months ago, we started our second teacher training, and we have way more applicants for the teacher training than we offer seats. So it becomes something popular, and more people. It's amazing to see how many people we have within SAP who have a mindfulness background and who come. They get out of the cabin and say, "By the way, I meditate too, and can I become a teacher?" The culture change comes from within. And I think this makes it so strong and so convincing. And it's always good to project a future. So this is how we hope this looks at the end of the year, or maybe a little beyond. So that we bring classes to all our big locations. You can see SAP is quite spread. So big locations means more than 500 people, and we have about 40 of them. So that we have in all of these locations local communities, that we bring classes there, and eventually that we have trainer there. We will expand business impact measures, and we hope by this that we inspire other companies that this has a big impact, and this will help the company to be more competitive. It's good for the employee and it's good for the company, and I think it's no contradiction. It's the right direction. And there's some press articles, and this was it. So thank you very much for your attention.